when you can't even do the experiment to find God, and yet you're saying there is no God. So it doesn't make sense. Just because you can't find God, you think it would be that easy to find God if there was a God? And maybe there isn't a God. That's fine. But I'm not going to say that there isn't a God because I don't know. You know? But I do know. Because I do know that God is. God is life. You know, God is the life of the universe. And that life is intelligent, personal, it's a being, you know. So there's people that call themselves agnostics, and that just means they don't know. They're admitting that they don't know. Gnosis means knowledge. Agnosis, agnostic, means you don't have knowledge. Gnosis means a direct experience of knowledge. But just because you know doesn't mean that you can actually put God into an equation and say, okay, I've proven God. Just like, you know, you could put forth a beautiful philosophy paper on the existence of God using logic and different arguments from a philosophical point of view, but that doesn't prove God either. And you can also get into religion and start, you know, reading divine poetry that claims to be revelation of God in scriptures, but you still don't know and you can't prove it. You only know God through your own connection with your source of your being. You see what I'm saying? So science, a real scientist is going to be somebody they're going to be looking for that knowledge, and they're not going to deny anything just because they don't believe it, and they're not going to believe anything just because they want to. But that also means you cannot deny that which you don't know. But when I say don't know, I mean that level of knowing on the scientific, left brain, logical, rational, mathematical, you know, bam, here it is in a mathematical equation, which is what science wants. You know what I mean? As easy as we can say, you know, how far the sun is, you know, and how we created the model of the solar system and the laws of gravity and the laws, you know, all these different things that we've said what the world is, and then we've developed technology through science. We have heat and air conditioning. You know, we have refrigerators, we have stoves, we have cars, these are all based on science and technology and innovation. So science is actually, we are very reliant upon science. People think that they rely on God, but they actually rely on science more than God, because that's how we live. We live in a world that's been developed to make this cold world a nice, comfortable place to live. We're not huddled around fires outside, freezing our asses off in Chicago anymore, even though we are outside right now. It's kind of warmer than it was.
Engineering.
Inner engineering, yes. The resources are all coming from a natural source.
Yes.
And there's a lot of bad that has come with science too, you know what I mean? Devastation of the earth, people and animals. But the fact is that that's just the way it is. This is always the place. This is the planet of duality, of good versus evil. This is how it's supposed to be. Life is here. You know, this is the planet Earth is all about, you know what I mean? We get flavors of everything. You know what I mean? We got everything here on planet Earth. It's not just some utopian planet. It's not some hell planet. It's not heaven, it's not hell, it's not some, you know, it's everything is here. We've got third world, first world, we've got future and past. You go to India, you got places where there's skyscrapers, and the rest of the country it's all mountains and people, you know what I'm saying? So, but the fact is that, like, the luxury of being able to get on an airplane and fly to India is because of science. So I have to give thanks to science that's created the internet, that I can get information. You know, books are more important than the internet, but the internet is very important. Because without books, there'd be no use to the internet, because all this good information on the internet came from people reading books, getting inspired to make documentaries, and to create, you know, websites that, you know, have information on these subjects of religion, science, and philosophy. But before we had the internet, we had the Theosophical Society, which is what they want to study, is religion, science, and philosophy. So that's what it's all about. So these are the most important subjects, and everybody needs to study all of these to get a pure balance. And there's a oneness when you realize it too. There's a oneness. When you get to really know what life is all about, you realize that there's a science to life, there's a religion to life, or a spirituality, and there's a philosophy to life. And it's an infinite, eternal realm of wisdom, truth, and knowledge. You know what I'm saying? So there is a balance between these three, this trinity. You know what I'm saying? Body, mind, and soul. You know, water, liquid, solid, and gas. You know, the sun, the light, the warmth of the sun itself. You know what I'm saying? There's the trinity, body, mind, and soul. You see what I'm saying? the philosophy, religion, and science. You have to be a philosopher because you have to love wisdom.
That's the mind.
You have to be a scientist because you have to also want to have that true knowledge.
That's the body.
You want to use that knowledge.
Yes.
And
religion is the soul.
You have to use that religion. You have that religion too, which just means that you want to know the truth. Religion means you want to know the truth of existence. Philosophy means you want to know the wisdom of existence. And science means you want to have the knowledge. Science is more body, right, because they're more material.
Yes.
But science is getting very spiritual now because they've already penetrated into matter. Yeah. You see what I'm saying? They've gone to galaxies, to atoms, to all life, biologists, archaeologists. But I'm talking like astronomers and astrophysicists. They're the ones who are tapping into fundamental life itself. You see what I'm saying? So like the operating forces of existence that are here and in outer space, everywhere. So when one comes to understand these laws of nature, that all of existence is coming from sound, and that sound is the sound of God. You see, there's a frequency of sound waves and light and other waves, and it's all on this giant spectrum. Our visual frequency that our two eyes see with is on a limited spectrum of Roy G. Biv, the 7 colors, you know what I mean, of the rainbow, so-called. Along this same spectrum, if you go down this way, there's like radio waves, which is what our radios tap into. So they're also a form of frequency, which is like sound, light, wave, and particles. But it's all traveling through the air, sound and light. You know what I'm saying? Like, so we see like that. But then there's radio waves, and like you've heard of infrared, going down even far. So sometimes they put on those goggles, like they can see cold or light. You know what I mean? Military and stuff like that. They can see on different frequencies. You know what I'm saying? And then if you go above our spectrum, it's like gamma rays and ultraviolet rays, X-rays, things like this. So there's different rays. You see what I'm saying? So all of existence is coming from the sound, literally the sound of God. And that sound is both sound and light at the same time. That's why in Sanskrit it's called Om. The Om sound means the eternal, infinite sound of God. And that's in the Bible too. And that's where I'm trying to break down this wisdom is religious and is scientific at the same time. Because the sound of God creates the universe. First comes light from that sound, like space and time and light. And
that's
light
it.